Welcome to the story of Euston Church, which begins not in the Euston area, but here in the financial district. This is St Helens Bishopsgate, which itself was a plant in the 60s. A handful of businessmen started a midweek meeting, and now thousands of people pass through this church every week for midweek and Sunday services. It was people at St Helens who prayed and had the vision for Euston Church. So we're here behind the organ, actually, in St Helens with William, the rector. William, why did St Helens plant Euston Church?
Well, I think every church should have as a primary goal to reach the lost. And that was the reason, All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me, says Jesus. Go therefore and make disciples. So we're about, reaching out, building people up and then sending them out. And, St Helens was full. We look at London. London's a big city. There are millions of people not reached by the gospel. And so, 30, 40, 50 people, whatever it was, boldly said, okay, we're going to head out and start a new church with fresh opportunities to reach new people.
So this is where it all began. We're at the School of Pharmacy. It's the other end of the Brunswick Centre. This is where our home was for 2 years. We had nowhere inside at the start to store our stuff, so a couple of cars would rock up here on a Sunday afternoon, and a little army of Euston Church family would be ready to take all the boxes of Bibles and the music kit inside. Can you imagine if we had to take all of our equipment into the church building every Sunday? But it really built that serving culture into the church family from the start, and everyone having to be involved. This here is the lecture theatre where we used to meet on Sundays. We can't get in at the moment, annoyingly, because it's a building site, basically. They've ripped it up and they're refurbing it. I'm not sure if it's in celebration of our 15 years. Anyway, this side is the canteen, and that's where we did midweek. And I was just thinking, if you went back in a time machine to 15 years ago, it was small, it was shoddy, the canteen tables were awkward, there was other stuff going on round about. But I think you would still recognise us as Euston Church. There was Bibles open, people being church family, praying for each other. I think it was still recognisably us. So after 2 years, we moved here to a bigger space in the Institute of Education. They won't let us in again. UCL regulations, this is really annoying. Let us in. After all we've done for them, after all the money we spent on rent, let me tell you. Anyway, the Institute of Education, the thing about this place that I remember is just how international it is. I mean, literally people from every continent. There was a girl who came from an island off Japan, came along to an Easter event, heard about the cross, and she was blown away. She had just never heard anything like this in her life. And then she goes back to her island off Japan as someone who knows about Jesus. We always say, if you want to be a world missionary, stay here at Euston Church. It's really true. I'm still outside the Institute of Education. We've actually just been photobombed by a bunch of Chinese students, which makes the point of just how international we are. In 2013, we began a morning service in a tiny classroom on the 8th floor here in the Institute of Education. Before that, it was just the 5 p.m, and then a couple got pregnant, and we felt like we better start a morning service, otherwise they would leave. It was really very small, awkwardly small for quite a long time, that service. And Chev, actually, who's filming this, was one of the few people who came along to it. Chev's quite a good example of someone who, can I say this, Chev, wasn't very stuck in before, and then in a new church plant got stuck in to serve. He's got his thumbs up. Chev was a bit flaky. I think that's fair, Chev, before he joined. Very flaky before he joined Euston Church. Chev was basically a drug dealer before he joined Euston Church. That's a joke. But it was such a small meeting, that morning service, when I look back, and then you think of our morning service now. It's just one of the many things that makes you thank the Lord for all he's done among us. This is not the story of buildings. The church is people, and we're trying to reach people. But one of the miracles about us moving here in 2015 is the Lord shoved us right into the heart of student land in the area that we're trying to reach. And this was a real miracle. We weren't praying about the use of this church building in 2010, so this comes into the category of the Lord providing in ways that we hadn't asked for or imagined. I can't believe it. We're not even allowed in to film in our own church garden. Chev, this is turning into a joke. This is a very hazardous area. I feel like we're under enemy attack today, or we're just really bad at planning. This is about the toilets. Anyway, this garden's been the home of a lot of happy memories. Baptisms, it's always a joy when we baptise people out here. Had some great freshers events in this garden. And one of the things I love is Sunday by Sunday, just how long people stay around after church, enjoying time together and being church family. It's wonderful. And I guess this is soon to be the home of some swanky new toilets. You know, I once heard a senior church leader literally said this. He said, when a church starts to focus on the comfort of its toilets, it's a sign that they've lost their missionary zeal. So we need to be the first church in history that stays hot on mission and has really good toilets at the same time. One of the things you might have noticed as you walk around the church is little reminders of COVID time. So have you seen the red dots on the pews from when people had to distance there? And this is me downstairs in the crypt. This became our filming studio during COVID. And my great memory of that time in our church's life was we found out on a Monday that we wouldn't be able to meet centrally anymore for midweek. But by the Tuesday night and then the Wednesday night as well, people were already online, gathered in God's Word together. And I found that really moving because it demonstrated the Acts 2 instinct of the church family to stay devoted to each other and to the apostles' teaching and to the prayers. I mean, that was a tough time. Let's be real, that was a tough time for folks, and there have been other tough times for people in the life of our church family. But give thanks to the Lord, for He is good, for His steadfast love endures forever. This is a vital ministry training session. This is the session where we learn how to put up fairy lights. Diane, how long have you been at Euston Church?
I first came 12 years ago.
Wow. Rachel?
6 years ago.
6 years. Carolina?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. You know, it's always annoying, those people who say, I've been here for the whole 15 years of Euston Church. Anya, how long have you been here?
I've been here for the whole 15 years of Euston Church, sorry.
Anya, what are you thankful for as you look back?
I'm really thankful for all our ministry trainees. We've had 42 over the last 15 years, and that's a great privilege to be training up young men and women to serve the Lord.
Wow, yeah, Caroline is not a ministry trainee, she's a normal person. So 42 ministry trainees and a lot more normal people. Yeah. Thank the Lord. There's so much more. This is a story about Jesus and people, lives changed now and shaped for eternity. We could talk about the hundreds who've gone through midweek over the years, the many now serving in a ton of ways all over the world. Mandarin ministry, families ministry, the 3 p.m. emerging, that only started because we had to keep numbers down at the 5 during COVID time. Another example of the way the Lord has not only been the great missionary in all of this, He's the great planner and strategist. To Him be the glory. And great thanks to you, church family, for being the past, present and future of this ministry adventure. Let's keep reaching, building and sending together, and we'll see what story the Lord continues to write.